I am delighted to welcome Inanc Cakiroglu, who's Group CIO at VEON. And hello, Inanc, and welcome.
Hello.
Please,
Hello.
could you say a little bit about the company and about your role in it?
Okay. Um, the company is VEON, and we are basically a global digital operator listed in Nasdaq, and we provide the converged digital services and the connectivity across the different countries. We have 5 operating countries. Our HQ is located in Dubai. We serve nearly around 150 million customers, and the number of digital users that we serve with our digital products is more than 200 million. So our digital users are that the number of our digital users is higher than the number of the connectivity users, and basically we are serving 6% of world's population. We don't treat ourselves, we don't call ourselves as a kind of a traditional telco operation, but rather we prefer to call ourselves a digital operator model built around the connectivity at the heart, but the digital platforms, fintech, entertainment, AI-driven services, and some local market ecosystems around. So we are investing in the different pillars, and the AI is one of the first strategy of us. So we are calling it AI and the digital operator 1440. 1440 is the number of minutes in a day. And we heavily believe that the future of the technology companies heavily based on the digital services being active and being digital in people's life, and leverage this with the capability of the AI and augmenting with the AI. This is our strategy. I have been with the company for 2 years already. I am Group Chief Information Officer of the company, that as you introduced me at the beginning. And my background is more on the AI analytics and the data side. So I'm coming from that background. I have lots of responsibilities in around, but usually I prefer to also to put some effort and to put some focus on the AI side. This is also the one of the topic that we discussed today, I believe.
Okay, so the topic of our briefing today is all about how the telco to techco destination has changed, because we've been talking about this for at least a decade, I would say. We've talked a lot about moving to platforms and moving beyond up the value chain, beyond simple connectivity, which is one of VEON's operating strategies anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, though, maybe you could give us an idea from your point of view about how you feel that transformation journey for operators has changed since we started talking about it. And do you think it's still a valid kind of way to look at how operators need to evolve?
Mm. Let me start like that. I really enjoyed saying that. I think most of the people in telco business, they still don't know which kind of business we are in. Um, Actually, we are in lifestyle business. I always like to call like that. Lifestyle business is, it was connectivity at the beginning. Then we introduced digital services around, and providing digital services, and we became an enterprise enables. And this is still valid. Still, we are in lifestyle business. But now it carries a bit flavor of AI. And this is our new lifestyle. So I always prefer to consider that we are in a lifestyle business, not the connectivity business. I think it defines well this techco ambition. Um, when I look at the history, there were two tipping points in our industry. The first one was shifting from the voice and the data selling company towards to being a digital service provider that we are talking about. And it happens almost 2 decades ago, and it was powered by the revolution of this the mobile broadband internet, mobility, and the mobile apps. And this was mostly on the B2C side. Then we discovered that we could also become enterprise business provider, selling our capabilities, developing our softwares, developing some software products and the software solutions for the B2B market, providing infrastructure, providing cloud, and providing data services. So monetizing our beautiful oil, which is data, it became also one of the most important asset, and it was the second tipping point. Now we are talking about the AI. It is a new shifting point and the new tipping point. And coming back to the question that these changes in our industry, being a digital service provider rather than a classical telco, the question is whether it is still valid. Is it still valid? Yes, the answer is still valid. Being player in a B2B enterprise segment is also still valid. But we have now a different kind of opportunity. The one opportunity is enriching our existing capabilities and the existing services with AI. That is what we call is like augmented intelligence, not artificial intelligence, because we believe that there is nothing artificial in it. But what we call and what we see as AI is augmenting the existing capabilities with some extra bit of smartness coming from the technology, and the being player in the enterprise AI business. It includes developing AI solution, AI data, providing an AI data center, providing an AI sovereignty, creating access to the token business. So any kind of a thing that you imagine combining enterprise with the AI, this is the second opportunity. And it is not just a shifting a business focus, actually. It is a shifting the strategy, shifting the game plan, replanning all your asset investments, sometimes being an asset light company, and sometimes just shifting the asset investment and the asset cost from one place to another, creating a different balance inside of the company. This is how we see the shift and the transformation in the technology and in the industry.
Okay. We used to talk a lot, I think, with the shift from telco to techco, a lot of it was about efficiency. You're suggesting, I think, at the moment that the focus of the industry is not so much about efficiency as generating new revenues from new services.
Efficiency, I think we can recall this into different topics. Of course, the creating efficiency inside of the organization, inside of the operation, this is one thing, and we have been dealing with that topic more than a decade. But the other thing is not maybe the focusing on the efficiency, but again, the leveraging and the augmenting the existing services in the market and the changing your investment scheme from one place to another, and the having a different kind of a mentality. Just an example, our operating environment is so complex. I mean, we have two types of the different the different landscape in our operation environment. The one is our network infrastructures, radio network, core network, transport network, and the towers. This is one thing. And the other thing is our ICT infrastructure, billing, charging, mediation, CRM systems, dealer management systems, Salesforce automation, ERP systems, data warehouses, analytical tools, reporting systems, customer touchpoints, IVR, self-service applications, call center application. Even there is this is the unexhausted list, and that we can count. And even we didn't come to digital services yet. As you can see, how it sounds, it is an asset-heavy operation, and of course, I mean, you need these capabilities to run your core business. That's for sure no-brainer. But one practical thing is whether you really need all these assets to run your businesses. If you are talking about that efficiency, whether these old assets is bringing some, let's say, the benefit for your business, benefit for your operations. Sometimes yes, sometimes not. Just a very simple example, we have the other tower transaction in Pakistan, and we actually sold our tower business, and we brought this out of the operating landscape, because we didn't think that the tower business, having the towers in a kind of a feasible and the logical things for our future and for our strategy. And another thing is, I just listed all the radio network assets or the network operation assets. This is needed for providing a connectivity, but it is not the only way. Just having the mobile operation to provide the connectivity to end users. There are some other options as well. And in Kyivstar, what we did, we created a synergy with the Starlink operation to provide a connectivity to people in Ukraine. And it was the first Starlink operation in Europe. So as you can see, I mean, even for the same level of the operation and the same service provisions, you may have a different options how to put your assets and how you'll spend your the budget.
So it depends on what you need in different markets.
Yeah,
presumably
different markets,
economics in
definitely different markets, different priorities, different strategies. Rather than being a kind of a traditional the telco operation, just as considering your main strategy and the main focus and the shifting to everything towards that side. So, and it is not all the time what you spend and how you spend is also important. I mean, maybe you can also continue to spend the same and the same things, but you can change your paradigm. For example, the building or developing and buying, acquiring a monolithic giant software is not a good strategy anymore. It's just a burden. But the modernizing the existing legacy systems, creating applications with the microservice infrastructures and architecture, and some small components that you can bring together, being a lightweight features and operations, it might be a much more better investment. We are not talking about not to do anything, but we are talking about how to do such kind of investment at such kind of
microservices and containerization rather than huge systems for billing, charging, CRM.
Just think about the Netflix, how many tariffs they have. Maybe 2, 3, I don't know. I mean, probably one. I mean, the only tariff that I know that what I am paying. So the question is, why, as let's say that for the telco connectivity business, we need lots of packages, lots of campaigns, lots of tariffs around, and some supporting systems to manage all this complexity. We don't need it anymore. We can be very basic on that, and if we can just focus on some other things, then we don't need to carry all the burden, all the IT burden coming out of such kind of necessities and to maintain the complex infrastructure. So this is just a mind shift from our perspective.
Okay, and clearly you don't think everybody's on that journey, but you seem like you've undertaken it. I'm wondering how difficult it is, though, to implement this strategy. And as you say, it's a change of mindset. And I mean, one of the difficulties, you've talked a lot about how you want to use AI internally and for services. But when we were building systems, these monolithic software and the data repositories and setting it all up, and which is where we generate much of the data. But I mean, when we were doing this, we were not thinking about how we'd apply AI to it, because the new sort of AI that we're talking about now, the large language models and agentic AI, were not there really when we were doing all this stuff. So how easy is it to apply AI and to change business models?
Yeah, good question. Truly speaking, this is also a kind of a very famous phrase that I continuously use. AI is not something new to us, new to telco operators. We have been utilizing AI for almost last 30 years in our operations. I'm talking about all these machine learnings and the deep learning models. Now, we call them a legacy AI or the traditional AI, because an average human being, what they know about AI or the call about AI is a generative AI now. It changed everything. But before that revolution, we still has churn models, best offers, propensity models, recommendation engines, credit scoring models, network optimization use cases, and we had and still have lots of traditional AI techniques that we were incorporating. But now with the revolution of the AI, what we need to do, equip all existing operation with that capability. Intelligent assistants, conversational agents, agentic workflows. This is why we call it augmented intelligence, because we have now opportunity to leverage this power to provide better services, better core services, better digital services, and making doctors better doctors with the relevant digital services, making nurses better nurses, making farmers better farmers. We don't need people inside of our organization doing the repetitive and the routine task each and every day. We need to use these people for the tasks we really need more intelligence and the creativity. I am not talking about replacing our workforce with the AI. I am talking about using our workforce with a better use, putting the AI in the right place and putting the people in another place. So what we are talking about, from my perspective, we are talking about the 4 different streams in the AI augmentation, the business or the opportunity. First one, everyone can agree on that, using AI for operational efficiency, for better IT operation, for better call center operation, for better network operation, for internal employees, for your finance department, for your HR department, for your marketing department, agentic AI flows and automation. This is the first and the necessary step. And also it is a kind of a learning process to understand and to get better on how to use AI in your total all operation. And the second is, as I described before, using AI to provide better services. AI assistants equipped with the digital services, smarter functionalities, smarter consumer interactions, and the consumer interfaces, and directly providing AI services, providing access to mainstream models, developing some wrapper applications around that you can make your customers, I mean, the B2B and the B2C, having an advantage of the using AI. And AI services for the B2B business, starting from the providing a compute power, GPUs, coming to model hosting for developing enterprise-grade applications, models, agentic workflows, and the sovereignty, data sovereignty, and the AI sovereignty is also another great opportunity, especially in underserved markets that you cannot feel the presence of these big players around. And in the markets also with the big, heavy regulations and also some restrictions to access the mainstream LLMs. So these four pillars are constituting and complementing each other to having a good AI strategy. Again, starting from the internal use cases towards the external use cases, and starting with the B2C, but also expanding towards the B2B. If you have a clear roadmap, clear prioritization, and the good use cases around, I think this is something achievable.
Okay, there's been quite a lot of studies I've seen recently about the hidden costs of AI, and also, for example, hidden labor, and what one study described as bot sitting, and how many, and running several different models to check answers because they don't like the first one. So there's quite a lot of hidden cost. One of the things I think we're all very aware of is getting return on investment for AI. I mean, how easy do you think it's going to be? How are we going to achieve it? And also, how are we going to measure it accurately? And just one more thing is like, I'm quite nervous that telcos don't give bill shock for AI services to customers, like it's happened in the past. And like telcos suffered from themselves with cloud, it seemed like a great idea till you got the bill in month 6.
Yeah, definitely it's a valid concern. And also it should be a kind of a checkpoint when you implement your AI models or the AI projects for maybe internal purposes or external purposes. We should admit that everything comes with the cost. It is not a kind of a showstopper, but also it's a kind of an opportunity, such kind of a checkpoint for the activities that you can bring. This concern, I think it becomes bigger when agentic structures are becoming more independent and their interaction among them getting higher and higher, because that could definitely trigger something beyond the expectation and the purpose. So this is a valid concern, and it is a kind of another guardrail. We are talking about the AI guardrails to prevent hallucination and to provide a better accuracy. But this is another guardrail concept that should be part of the design when you design any kind of AI service, because it can easily become out of control. But again, as everything comes with the cost, also everything becomes opportunity very easily. The question of why we should invest on our own AI, while there are many mainstream models around available, why we should invest on our own infrastructure while we can easily host everything in somebody else's cloud? This is the answer. And it is not just cost; it is also the availability and the accessibility. What happens if somebody comes at some certain models which is available now won't be available for your geography or for your territory or for your business? So, checkpoint is one thing, using mainstream models and providing some checkpoints, but also it comes to a question and the feasibility that whether you should implement your own AI in your own ecosystem, controlling every cost and just managing everything or not. So these are a controversial topic between the cost, between the concern, and between the opportunity. And for the return of opportunity, in AI, there is cycle, we have two main stages. The first stage is experimenting. You invest as a kind of R&D activity. It's just a cost, and sometimes it's a heavy cost. But basically, you try to understand your capability, you build your capability, you build your skill set, and it is usually around the internal use cases. And these are the first trial fields inside of your organization, and for your R&D investment for the capabilities. So return of investment usually comes from the operational efficiencies and the operational cost cutting and the such kind of things. Second stage is leveraging the investment into your products and into your services. So this is the question actually before investing on the capability before the first stage. The question is, should you have a proven, well-defined use cases that you can easily prove your return of investment? Of course, ideally, yes, if you can do that. But again, another topic is the modular approach kicks in here. Rather than focusing on the developing large, giant platforms and the very, very big projects around the AI, maybe the focus should be building modular capabilities that you can bring pieces together and you can just, the using and the replicating the same approach in different and the many different the AI models and the AI use cases. And another thing is, if you focus on return of investment totally, there is a high probability that you may end up doing nothing, missing out the real opportunities in the market, and to find yourself way behind the real hype and the real opportunity that can be basically the future of your business. Okay, return of investment, definitely you have to put into consideration, but another thing is how also to plan how you build your skills and how you build your experience around. So, and this is also the very popular topic and the popular the justification that everybody says that the use cases is very important. Yes, this is right. This is use cases is very important, but the use cases is also the improving and revolutionizing easily and this rapidly and continuously. So a use case which is not exist today might be existing tomorrow. So you cannot just focus on the use cases, but rather than you build your competencies and to wait for the right moment sometimes to create the use cases around.
We talked earlier about some big disruptions in the industry, and I feel like when Gen AI turned up not quite 4 years ago with ChatGPT, that was a really big disruption, and I don't think we've really understood properly in telco how we can best use it for ourselves and our customers. And then before we'd understood that, now we've got agentic AI as well, which is like another huge wave of disruption. And yes. I'm just wondering what you think about that and how far down the line we are with both of them and using them in the best way we can. Have we figured out what we're doing really?
Yeah, maybe again, the same thing. We had already AI with the traditional machine learning and the deep learning models in the past. And another concept, maybe we should name it robotic process operation. It was the pre-agentic era technology. And then sometimes it was a kind of a hard-coded rule-based flows. Sometimes we were using some ready-to-use tools to build them in a more modular way. But anyway, now with the advancements in AI, we started to integrate these RPA, robotic process automation flows, with some AI capabilities at the beginning of the flow, at the end of the flow, which kind of capabilities, computer vision, sentiment analysis, AI-based classification. So we use the traditional, again, the machine learning techniques, little bit make all these robotic process flows smarter than how they were. Now we have agentic AI, generative AI. And it's a big revolution for sure. I think it will change. It's already started to change our life and our industry, and there will be more impact coming in the further days. It basically already replaced RPA with the agentic flows, and it provides very good and easy to use platforms with easy integration capabilities. And there are a couple of success factors here. The one is the building a modular structure that you can reuse, to have integration capabilities because without integrating the generative AI with your existing data sources, with your existing flows, or with your existing the applications, the use out of it is lower. Reusable components like modular structure, and definitely smarter AI models, having a better AI models and the multimodal components. And another thing, I think it's worth to think on. The future is more on the neuro-symbolic AI concept. What neuro-symbolic AI is embedding some rule-based approach in machine learning process to get closer and closer to artificial general intelligence. As human being, I mean, basically what we are trying to do with the AI is replicating the human, the brain function, and creating a digital twin of a human in a much more better way. And the human process, human brain function, it incorporates rule-based, some predefined rules and the predefined learning with the experience-based learning, which is very similar to machine learning and the deep learning process. This is how a human being thinks. So in order to achieve the same intelligence level or the thinking mechanism, you have to replicate this process. This is why we need neurosymbolic AI, having generative AI, having machine learning and the deep learning based AI incorporated with some rules, and having a better working mechanism for all your use cases or all your lifestyle applications. This is our vision.
So I think a big element that we've sort of talked around, but that maybe telco can really bring to customers in this era of AI is trust. They can trust you not to get a huge bill. They can trust you that, I don't know, it's safe, etc., depending on what services we're talking about. And maybe they'd rather hire GPU capacity from you than run them themselves. I'm just thinking about, are you really seeing AI as the biggest impact on B2B? Or do you think, at the beginning you talked about lifestyle, or do you think there's going to be a huge demand from consumers as well? And a billion-dollar question really is, will you be able to charge for it?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I think this is one of the competitive advantage in that race as telco operators. We already built ecosystem. Ecosystem is consisting of the infrastructures we have and the real customers in place we have, and also we are already in their lifestyles with the digital applications. So we have the whole ecosystem, and yes, there is a trust mechanism because they know how we operate, and they know that this is basically a kind of ecosystem that we should live together and we should actually support together each other. And coming to demand is real? Definitely, it is real. And just think from the perspective of average human being or the usual customer, in the existence of multiple competing models, we are talking about the ChatGPT, OpenAI, Cloud, or Gemini. It makes much more sense if you combine them into one package with some other capabilities and to provide this as a kind of a product or the services to B2C customer. This is something that many telcos are doing. And another thing is bundling this with your existing offers. And this is also like a kind of a different example, another example of to leverage your existing advantage and enhancing and improving your digital products, which is already you are serving with these capabilities as well, to provide a better services and to provide a better experience to your customer base. So on the B2C side, there is definitely a big opportunity and there is a big demand that we can play around. And on the B2E side, again, now for big enterprises especially, the data confidentiality, data sovereignty, these are the main issues and the main discussion points. This is also the opportunity to become a solution provider for them. creating some hosting solutions, create the hosting LLMs, creating some, developing some AI softwares around. And this is for the big enterprises. And for the small and medium enterprise business, they are lacking of accessing these resources or the developing high grade of the AI solutions and the softwares for their business. And as a telco operator, you can easily scale this as a kind of offering to the SME market with the replicable AI solutions. So this is another thing we see as a demand, and definitely it's a valid demand. So yes, we have a trust relation with the market already. We already have lots of products and lots of the services and lots of the offerings in the market. Just the providing some additional offerings using directly providing AI or the providing the leveraging the AI and the providing the better solutions, the better digital services. These are all the existing and the valid the opportunities and the demands that we see in the markets.
Inanc, thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.